Module 6. Wholesaler Receiving, Cooling, Storage, and Shipping Requirements. According to the U.S. Food and Drug Administration, the rapid cooling of oysters harvested during the warm weather months greatly reduces the proliferation of VIBRIO bacteria that causes illness. Therefore, wholesale dealers have an important role to play in minimizing the risk for VIBRIO illness by cooling oysters to temperatures low enough to prevent the multiplication of VIBRIO bacteria prior to shipping to their customers. This module will provide you with guidance for proper receiving, cooling, storage, and shipping procedures that will help you comply with the wholesale dealer requirements of the Massachusetts VIBRIO Control Plan. Wholesale dealers may only purchase oysters from a licensed harvester who presents a DMF shellfish transaction card. The harvester must either be known to the wholesale dealer or present photo identification. Each transaction between a harvester and a wholesale dealer must be recorded on a serialized transaction slip approved by DPH. The transaction slip should include the wholesale dealer's name and permit number, the type and amount of shellfish purchased, the date of purchase, and the shellfish harvesting area. The transaction slip should also show the embossed number from the harvester's shellfish transaction card issued by DMF. All containers of oysters received from harvesters must be individually tagged. The tag should indicate that the oysters were harvested from an approved or conditionally approved area in the open status. The tag should also include the full name of the harvester, the harvester's DMF commercial shellfish permit number, the date and time of harvest, the harvest area, the time of icing, and the type and quantity of oysters. The tag must include the following statement in bold capitalized type. This tag is required to be attached until container is empty or is retagged and thereafter kept on file for 90 days. If the wholesale dealer receives oysters from the harvester that are held in a shellfish icing container, then the time of icing may be indicated on the single harvester icing tag rather than on each individual harvester tag as described in the VIBRIO Control Plan. The wholesale dealer must retain the harvester tags from each transaction for at least 90 days. Additionally, the wholesale dealer and harvester shall retain their copies of the transaction slip for at least 90 days. If the time of harvest and/or the time of icing is not indicated on the harvester tag or is illegible, the dealer should reject the shipment and follow the corrective action procedures outlined in the VIBRIO Control Plan. All oysters received by the wholesale dealer should be adequately iced as described in the VIBRIO Control Plan. If an original dealer receives oysters from the harvester at the landing site, the dealer should ensure that oysters remain iced throughout transportation to his or her physical facility in an insulated, mechanically refrigerated vehicle. The vehicle must be pre-chilled to an ambient temperature at or below 45 degrees Fahrenheit prior to loading. Individual containers of oysters received from the harvester that are iced by the wholesale dealer and held in the wholesale dealer's vehicle must have at least 3 inches of ice on top of each container. The wholesale dealer should record the time that the oysters were adequately iced, the ambient temperature of the vehicle's refrigerated cargo area, and the time the temperature was taken in his or her shellfish receiving records as required by the VIBRIO Control Plan. Wholesale dealers should verify that oysters delivered to their facility by the harvester comply with the harvester icing requirements of the VIBRIO Control Plan as described in Module 2. All oysters received from harvesters under the VIBRIO Control Plan must be held in refrigerated storage with an ambient temperature of 45 degrees Fahrenheit or less. Once oysters are placed in mechanical refrigeration, they may not remain without temperature control for more than 2 hours at points of processing or transfer, such as loading docks. Oysters must be held in a manner to protect them from contamination during storage, at points of transfer, and during processing and/or handling. All ice in contact with oysters must be made of potable water and held in a manner to prevent contamination. The dealer must ensure that all oysters received from harvesters are cooled to 45 degrees Fahrenheit or less within 10 hours of the time of harvest prior to shipment. The time of harvest should be indicated on the harvester tag attached to either the shellfish icing container or each individual container of oysters as described in the VIBRIO Control Plan. In order to verify that oysters have been cooled to 45 degrees Fahrenheit in 10 hours or less, Dealers must record the actual temperature of the oysters and the time the temperature was taken for each harvest lot in their HACCP monitoring record, as required by the VIBRIO control plan. Oysters that are not cooled to 45 degrees Fahrenheit or less within 10 hours of the time of harvest must not be shipped, and the wholesale dealer should follow the corrective action procedures outlined in the VIBRIO control plan. The dealer shall ensure that all oysters are cooled to 45 degrees Fahrenheit or less prior to shipment. All vehicles used for shipping oysters shall be clean and capable of maintaining an ambient temperature of 45 degrees Fahrenheit or less, and the vehicle's refrigerated storage area must be pre-chilled to 45 degrees Fahrenheit prior to loading shellfish. For more information, call the Bureau of Environmental Health or visit its website and follow the links to the Food Protection Program. You can also call the Division of Marine Fisheries or visit its website for a link to the Massachusetts VIBRIO Control Plan.